My childhood was I would say, very interesting. I grew up in Nairobi, whereby, to give it a context, it's like, I would say it's kind of a ghetto, like, let's say, like Soweto kind of upbringing. So we weren't the best well off at that point in life, but at least we have a roof, and I would say I had food every day. I also got to experience, I don't know if there was election violence in 2007 in Kenya. So that time whereby you sleep at home, you don't know what's happening tomorrow. So my childhood was full of, there's good memories, and also there's those bad memories whereby you see what politics can really do to a country. If there's something I really need to change about Africa, is that mentality when it comes to our politics.
Yeah.
But because of my political choice, it doesn't have to make us enemies or adversaries. So I grew up in that environment whereby every 5 years there's just something going on. It was very, I would say, the best part is, even if just growing up in Nairobi, sometimes I used to go to spend time in the village, which used to be some of my best moments too. You wake up in the morning, go to the farm, take care of the cows, milk the cows. Like, it really takes you away from this all mainstream nonsense. I'll go just by the river, spend some time there, and just think. And that's where I used to think of, what do I really want in my life? And the struggle, my first job was at a warehouse. That was a big struggle. Like, I think it's the hardest. When you go to work and I'm like, I thought this is Canada. I was supposed to come enjoy life. Then I go to a warehouse, start lifting 50-pound boxes for 8 hours. That was a real struggle. To me, I was like, there has to be more to me than this. I want to do something else. Like, as much as, even if you give me any other job, still, if I call myself an employee, to me was still a struggle. That struggle was pushing me to think of, I need to do something that will elevate me and elevate my family and also elevate my society. I just want to make something of my own. Something that even if I leave this world, there's something people can feed on. I actually appreciate those days of struggle, because it really made me reflect, like, what do I really want to do? Most people think podcasting is easy, but these equipments don't come free.
Yeah.
When you go to Best Buy, they expect something. A good mic is not cheap.
No.
Yeah. So most people think you just wake up and start a podcast, but these things, there's a financial responsibility attached to it. I remember even myself, like, waking up in the morning, trying to practice my openings on my windows, my brush, my teeth. I was like, I really have. So I really appreciate the struggles I had, like going to work, and then the struggle of going to university, just studying what I had already studied. It made me reflect every single day.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Zen and Now. Today, I'm honored to have Moses Simbi, a podcaster doing amazing things, sharing his stories, not just from where he came from, but also where he is right now. Moses is changing how we look at ourselves and how we see ourselves as well. And he's also changing the narrative of what Africa is about. Welcome, Moses.
Thank you so much, Kishen. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. Such an honor to be here.
You're welcome, man. And thank you for accepting my invitation, because when we met at the PodCamp in Toronto, I didn't know what to expect. And when I came to your class, or not your class, but your talk, I really resonated with you, because also we come from the same continent.
Yeah.
Understanding. And when you started talking about Nelson Mandela, I was like, yeah, I've got to get this guy on the show.
Actually, one of my bucket list is actually to go to South Africa one time. Yeah, big time. Like, I really want to go visit South Africa, and it's actually on my bucket list.
And Kenya is on our bucket list too, as well. So it's strange though, like we live in the same, or when we're on the continent, we don't actually take that opportunity to explore and travel to the countries within. Obviously, because of the stigma around, certain countries and certain areas within Africa, people associate it with danger and just a no-go place.
Yeah,
But there are many places like Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa.
yeah,
It's just very like welcoming. I think African people just in general are very welcoming.
yeah. Africa is, I would say, the most welcoming place. Like, I've lived in Kenya and Uganda, and I would say the only difference is the borders. They were drawn, but it's
Yeah,
actually,
not non-existent.
yeah, it's that existed. To me, actually look at them as complications to me.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
feel like one day they should just open all the borders and we should just do our own thing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because in South Africa you have like a broken fence, and you'd be like, okay, this is the border. You look around, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moses, for the listeners and viewers who aren't aware of who you are, can you just give us a little bit of an elevated pitch of who Moses is and where you come
Yeah.
from?
I'll start with where I come from. So I was born in Nairobi, Kenya. That's the capital city of Kenya. We also say it's the capital city of East Africa. So that's where I was born. I went there to school, primary slash elementary school. Then my high school, I did my high school in Uganda. So I spent like 6 years in Uganda, but it was to and fro, back and forth. After high school in Uganda, I moved back to Kenya. I did my university there. Then like 2 years into university, I moved to Canada. So that was basically it.
And when we were talking offline, you said you before you even had the chance to complete your university, you came over to Canada, right?
Yes, that was one of the days I will never forget the day I looked at that visa, and that was the biggest confusion of my life today.
Why is that? Why did you feel confused?
Because at that point, I'd already felt, that feeling whereby you already know where you are heading in life. My life in Kenya, personally to me, I felt like I'd already set that path. And the visa had taken so long, almost 4 years to be processed. So it's something I'd, at some points, I would say I'd forgotten about it. Like it wasn't in my head anymore.
Right, right.
So I was moving, me and my friends, we had an entertainment company. I was a student leader at my school. So things were going on well for me. So when the visa came, I was like, there was two choices. You either go somewhere, you're starting life at zero, or continue with whatever you could build here. But to cut the long story short, I'm here in Canada, so you can guess which decision I took.
Start afresh, start afresh.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Personally, it was the decision was highly influenced by family because basically half of the family was also moving to Canada and the US.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was a choice, either you stay or you stay here alone. Up to you.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, you can eat now or go to bed hungry. Choose one.
Yeah. You pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to live by that decision.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think that decision also, I think it forces you to make a decision because now you're presented with it and you obviously don't want to make the wrong one. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, you got to feel what's right for you in that moment. Did you feel like, okay, Canada is somewhere where I can see myself long term?
At that point, no, it was more basically, you know what, let me just do it to make people happy.
Oh, okay.
Because even by the time we were moving, it was a decision. I was like, is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? Because I had said yes verbally, but internally there was still conflict.
Mm,
Even on that plane while leaving, that excitement when you're entering a plane and everything. For me, I didn't have that excitement. I was like, okay, Canada is not a bad place. Like, I've already like, you're going to go to university there and everything. But I was also looking at the things I'm leaving behind. It's, I'm leaving friends. I'm leaving part of the family there. I had a business there that, it was actually at the moment whereby it's starting to pick up. We are getting some momentum. So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to start from zero and I'm leaving something which took us hard pain and sweat to just start it. Because in Africa, starting a business is not that easy. Yeah. For us, we started it and we were already it was starting to cover some of our day to day needs. So being on that plane, I was like, I'm going there, like, where will I even get my next dollar or anything? So it was a whole flight of just thinking, thoughts just bombarding my head. I was like, I didn't even want to reach Canada at that point. I was like, I wish this plane can take like a good 2 days so that I can just figure this thing out.
Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
like a sudden decision that you had to be in the country, or a timeline that you had to be in the country? Because like I
Yeah.
know for PR you have to, there's a certain time frame they
Yeah.
give you in which to enter the country. Did you have the same
Yeah.
with your visa?
Yeah. I had the same thing.
Okay.
And also, they were also looking at the times when university start admissions. So they were like, oh, you have to be in Canada for you to get admission, for you to settle. You have to be there like a few months before September. If you really want to get into university in September. And I got my visa, I remember very well, in April. So no,
That's
actually
like
it was
4 months.
no, it was actually March, and I
Okay.
was traveling out of Kenya in April.
Okay. So you still had that trip, and then you still had to think about the
Yeah,
the after trip of coming to Canada. So I think your emotions and feelings were all over the show.
yeah. At the end of the side, they were like, "Oh, you need to pick a university you want to pick." In my head, I'm like, "I have never to be in this country. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know the university. I don't know which one is good. I don't know which one is bad." It was like, "Hey, by the time my sister was telling me, by the time you land, please decide which university you want to apply so that you just start the process. If you want to get into university in September."
Which university did you choose?
So I decided because of location, because my sister lives in Brampton. I
Okay.
was like, which one can I take transit to quickly get there? Because I didn't want to get to Canada and then go to residence and all that stuff.
Right.
So I chose the one which I can easily access. So I chose York University at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your field of study was?
Political science and journalism.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a 4-year degree, right?
I will say even, 4-year degree.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
was your first impressions of Canada when you landed? How did you feel?
To be honest, at that point, there was there, because I'd not seen my sister here who was here for 10 years. So me just seeing her actually just erased all the troubles I had at first. I was like, at this point, I'm just going to take one step at a time. Let me enjoy my time with family for the next few weeks. So when I landed, I was like, wow, I'm seeing my sister, and everyone else from the US had come to see me and my family.
Okay.
So I was very happy at that
Okay.
point. And I was also eager to start exploring. So there are some things that had totally disappeared in my brain at that point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just that the intention, I mean, the feeling of the unknown always gets the better of us, the
Yeah.
anxiety. We we actually put it on ourselves because we think in our heads, the what if, and the unknown is always unfamiliar. We kind of play too much in our head, and
Yeah.
then we put ourselves in such a distressful space of mind that when we actually get here, we're not in the present moment. Instead of just then, like you said, you could have, if you're looking back at it now, you could have enjoyed the trip more. You could have enjoyed the flight, not
Yeah.
worry about everything too much.
Yeah.
And I think for ourselves as well, and when we got the news of our permanent residency, because we had waited also like a year looking at express entry, there's a draw, and your number is just not coming up. And you, like yourself, we also just kind of just put it in the back of our minds, and we thought, okay, if it happens, it happens. We're gonna go on with daily life, and that's it. And I will not forget this. It was December 2018, and I just got home from work. It was like at 4 p.m. and I just decided, okay, let me check my email. And there was an email from Canada, the Canadian immigration office.
Yeah.
I said, okay, let me take a moment, log in. We would like to invite you to apply for permanent residence. I took a step. I was like, okay, wait, hold on. Wait,
Wow.
did this happen? Did it
Is
actually
this
happen?
real? Yeah.
Yeah. I immediately called my wife and I told her, hey, look, we got the invitation. She's like,
Yeah.
no, you're lying. Like, yeah, it came. She's
Yeah.
like, okay, are you sure? Did you check? Are you sure? because all of those emotions.
Everything is just
Yeah,
everything is everywhere.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when she got home, we looked at it together. And okay, cool. This is happening, right? And by that time, we never told anybody that we were leaving, that we were embarking on this journey. We just kept it to ourselves. And even in that moment, we didn't really tell anybody because at that point, it's not still um, confirmed that you are coming because you still have to apply.
You still have to apply and go through the whole process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but in that moment, we realized, okay, let's just enjoy the moment, enjoy that feeling, and we'll take everything now as it comes. Yeah, during the coming months. But it comes back to us in this moment, living in a present moment, or in that moment where we want to be present. I think that's the whole crux of it. Exactly, just to
Yeah.
enjoy that moment.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Because for you, I think for it was 1.5. I think for me, mine was just a direct application from my sister had applied this side
Oh,
for
okay.
permanent residence. So to me, actually, the whole process was, I'll say, a bit of excitement because I'm learning new things, and I also felt like I'm being violated at one point because I felt like I lost some of my freedom because the things you have to do they literally
Yeah.
had to give my whole life. I was like, for me just to come to this country, you want all this stuff. Like, I know I'm not a bad person. I mean nobody, no harm. But why you ask all these things?
Mm.
But in my head, I was like, you know what?
Oh,
Let's just do it.
yeah. There's something in your gut feeling that just
Yeah.
lets you take that leap of faith. And I don't think I've visited our home affairs as much as I did going through this process.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
it's part of the journey. You enjoy the process as well. You enjoy
Yeah.
the ups and downs.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I will say I don't even regret that decision even for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, going back to growing up in Kenya, what was like your childhood?
My childhood was I would say very interesting. I was a very shy kid to begin with. Very shy. I was just the person who would go to school and come out. Like, it was just a process to me, my first year. But because I grew up in Nairobi, whereby, to give it a context, it's like, I would say it's kind of a ghetto, like, let's say like Soweto kind of upbringing. So we weren't the best well off at that point in life, but at least we have a roof, and I would say I had food every day. But it was an environment where there's drama every day. There's robbery. It was I also got to experience. I don't know if there was election violence in 2007 in Kenya. So that time whereby you sleep at home, you don't know what's happening tomorrow. You're seeing some of your neighbors' houses being burnt because of their tribe, because of election. So my childhood was full of there's good memories and also there's those bad memories whereby you see what politics can really do to a country. Whereby even your best friend being a different tribe can kind of cause of a rift between both of you just because of an election.
Yeah.
So every 5 years in Kenya, there used to be that kind of a rift because of elections. So my childhood was, I used to think of myself like, because of these people, like, how much, like, when we look at these people, they live like luxurious life. But for us who are here at this level, we are the ones fighting. You will never hear their children fighting, but for us, we are the ones fighting. So my childhood, I grew up looking at, if there's something I really need to change about Africa is that mentality when it comes to our politics. We let it run deep where it's not even supposed to reach. Because when I looked at politics, people say there's secret ballot. Let it end at the ballot. You vote, go on with your business. That's it. If you wanna go to a rally, go to a rally, go back home. Your neighbor is still your neighbor.
Yeah.
But because of my political choice, it doesn't have to make us enemies or adversaries. So I
Yeah.
grew up in that environment whereby every 5 years there's just something going on. It was I would say the best part is even if just growing up in Nairobi, sometimes I used to spend time in the village, which used to be some of my best moments too. Because there you are out of how do I call it? Mainstream media. That side, there's no social media. It's
Yeah.
just you wake up in the morning, go to the farm, take care of the cows, milk the cows. Like it really takes you away from this all mainstream nonsense. We
Yeah.
call it the concrete jungle. You're just in the bush. I will say it was actually points whereby I used to have that self reflection, because I'll go just by the river, spend some time there, and just think, and just that's where I used to think of, what do I really want in my life? Like, what is it? Every time I go, like, where there's nature and silence, you have those, I will say, meaningful thoughts whereby you start to think, what do I really want to make of this? Do I really want to live the way we are all living? Every time there's violence, every time there's drama, I will go to the village, and when I come back, I will be like, what can I do to change this society where I live? Because I live, I'm the only boy in my family. I have 7 sisters. Yeah. So, and most
Were
of
you,
the time, yeah,
were you spoiled?
very much spoiled.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very much spoiled. Until it reached a point whereby my father was like, this is too much. So when I finished high school, he gave like a rule in the house. The only thing we're in charge for Moses in this house is your feeding. You have a roof. Everything else, if you want money to do your own things, you have to figure out what to do. So now starting to look for money by myself, I would say it opened up me a little bit, because me and my friends were like, you know what? We need to start a business and figure ways of just making money out of ourselves. Because as a man growing up in Africa, every time going to your mother for money, it becomes embarrassing. So we're like, you know what?
Because of the aspect of masculinity, especially in
Yeah,
our cultures as well.
yeah. Because every time, oh, mom, give me some money. I need this for transportation. Because some of my happiest moments was when I could go to university without asking anyone for transportation, just figuring my ways out. That was actually one of my best moments. So that when it came to the time of coming to Canada, I was like, again, I have to go back to Canada and ask my sister for transportation. That was like, I have to go back to asking for money. I'd already moved out of that step whereby there are some things are my own responsibility. I just do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, going back to that moment when you're sitting in the village,
Yeah.
like they call it the simple life. I think
Yeah.
that was your moment when you felt there was something more to life for you, because
Yes.
not a lot of people actually get to sit down and reflect. And I think that was that moment for you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And you just reflected on it and said, "Hey, man, there's just something not right in the way I was." And I think going back to the village, it was your much needed breakthrough to think, okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to live under political chains back in where I was. I
Yeah.
want to have freedom of expression, freedom of choice, freedom of who I can vote for, and not feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I think
Right.
that's where in Africa we so divided in uh, which allegiance we take towards. Is that if you similar in like our cultures, if you come from just a specific caste, the caste system of
Yeah.
Indians, people look at you differently and think about you differently. So if you come from a higher caste, obviously they think that you have higher status or in social status. And if you come from a lower caste, then or in a middle class, then expectations or reality of you is different. But actually that's not true. It's what you make of your life in that moment. We're all born with a different brain, a different way of thinking, ideologies, everything. And
Yes.
we shouldn't be just consolidated just to think, oh, follow the sheep kind, or follow the wolf pack kind of mentality. We all
Right.
have our path that we want to live. And I think when you're in that moment, you were like, no, I want something different for myself. And you made it happen. And even your dad, I think I give him kudos for telling you as a son, because sometimes parents can give in to their kids and just give them whatever they
Yeah.
want. But your dad was,
Yeah.
no, I want him to learn independence. Even when he goes to varsity, figure it out. Similar to myself, where when we began varsity, we took the bus, we took public
Yeah.
transport. We had to
Right.
figure our way, even to come home. If we wanted to come home early, we had to
Yeah.
figure our way, walk to the taxi, pay the taxi, know where to get off, those kind of things. But like you said, it prepared us for where we are right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. At that point, I was looking at it. Oh, this is like torture. It was hard at first, but when you start figuring things out, there's that kind of excitement whereby you're like, yeah, I think I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Some mental fortitude that does to you. It's like going to the gym for your muscles. It's like for your brain
Yeah.
to think outside the box.
True. That's true. Yeah.
When you come, let's bring it back now to Canadian life. What is the biggest culture shock for you when you got here?
The biggest culture shock to me was just seeing how Canadian life is. There's like whereby everyone minds their own business. Because when I moved, when we just reached to my sister's place, I was starting to make friends with neighbors, only to realize even these neighbors don't even know that much about my sister. I'm
Mm.
like, you don't know this much about your sister? In Kenya, even the neighbor who's like 10 houses away knows your father, knows your mother, knows everyone. Yeah, 10 houses away from my sister's house, nobody knows her. So it was much of, I was like, there wasn't that much sense of community like back home. Like the kids know each other when they go to the playground, but when they go home, I would find like some of the kids, their parents have never even seen each other. But also another culture shock to me was like, because she lives in Brampton, I felt a little bit at home because where we live in Nairobi, I also lived, it's a kind of, I think it has followed me here. Our estate is nearby an Indian estate. So when I reached Brampton, I was like, oh wow, there's not much big of a difference. There's all Indians here. And my first doctor actually back in Kenya was an Indian.
Okay.
So it's also kind of, I felt like a little bit welcomed. I was like, oh, because I had that expectation whereby I'll only see white people alone. Then reaching Brampton, all my sister's neighbors are all Indian. So I was like, you know what? This is not the Canada I expected. I was expecting to see only white, like pure white people majority. But reaching Brampton to me, it was like, oh wow, okay. This is how we're moving. And it also helped, somehow it also helped me settle. Because I was like, if I could see immigrants, because most of my sister's neighbors are also immigrants, majority also from India, you start to share your experience. So
Yeah.
you feel, that's what started making me to feel a little bit at home at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also the food also made it a little easier as well because you're used to the spices, the palate that you grew up with as well. And in
Yeah.
Brampton as well, it's the similar the smells and the taste. So
Yeah.
it made you feel a little at home.
Yeah. And also, like, when you see places where you see roti, I'm like, oh, there's a place I could also see roti back home. I was like, it's not that much big of a difference. The only difference is I'm in a first world country
Yeah.
and I left a third world, but the food was almost the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
Similar story to funny story when we took our flight. So we booked a one way via Dubai. And we got to Dubai and waiting for our plane, waiting for it to board. And we got to the gate and I'm just noticing a lot of Indian people at this gate. What's going on? Are we sure we're going to Canada? Because I thought also like the perception was there'll be a lot of just mixed diversity
Yeah.
people coming here. And I will not lie to you. I think it was like 80% just brown people on that plane.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time I kind of realized, okay, Canada is such a diversity, like a cultural place that it's not just only what we thought was mainstream media showed us what Canada was like. It's actually a melting pot of so many cultures. And that's the beauty of it, that we all get to share our stories and bring our cultures and bring our experiences to live just outside of the box of where we come from. And I don't know
Right.
if you agree with me on that or if you felt that as well.
I also felt that I was like, I thought like, coming here, I'll have to like start like behaving in a certain way or moving in a certain way. I was like, you know what? You just come as you. You just do you. Just continue life as you were doing. So long as you're an upright citizen, nothing else is hindering you from achieving
Yeah.
what you have to achieve. You don't have to
Yeah.
pretend with a certain accent. You don't have to pretend to dress up in a certain way. Because living in Brampton, the Indians still uphold their culture. I see people still wearing the dhoti. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, wow, you can still wear whatever I want to wear. Like, personally, there was nothing much change. It was just the environment that was changed. But in terms of my values, my culture, there was nothing pushing me to change anything. That was
yeah,
the beauty of it.
yeah. That comes from with you, right?
Yeah,
And how strongly you hold those values with you. Because if you can go anywhere in the world, and if you have those core values, you'll be fine.
you're right.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. You
And
know
I
what I'm
think the
saying?
other culture shock to me was now seeing how there's so much freedom here. There are some things like let's say like when you see Caribana. The first time I saw Caribana, I was like, is this allowed? Like that at first I couldn't wrap my head around it because you know how in Africa there's a way women are supposed to cover
Yeah,
themselves. Yeah, I was like, there's this much freedom here. Because at first time I saw it on CP24, I didn't even know there was Caribana. I just woke up in the morning, turn on the TV. I almost threw the remote off my hand. I was like, holy moly.
I'm
They
going.
show this, yeah, on live TV. Like, first of all, I was like, they allow this to even on live TV to
Yeah.
show. Because I know in Kenya, that station, they locked it up long time ago. I was like, wow. That's the first time I was like, you know what? I ran to the Goba station and I was in downtown just to see it with my eyes. Because I was like, I can't believe it.
And when you got here, what happened? How did you feel when you saw
I
it
was
live?
like, at first I was like, I think I'm going to throw away my passport. Because at this point, I hadn't even made friends yet. I was just exploring Canada as myself. So I'm just looking at this. I'm like, okay, wow, there's this so much freedom. Like people, and then, like when you go in Kenya, if you go to Nairobi, in Nairobi downtown itself, you have to be very careful. You don't know if someone will come snatch your phone or something.
Yeah,
Like I will
same.
see people, yeah, like people are so free. Like there was so much, you feel like you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
It
For
was, to me, was
listeners,
nice.
yeah, for listeners who aren't aware what Carabana is, it's the largest Caribbean festival outside uh, um, of the Caribbean countries. So everyone from Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, everybody comes to Canada, and they have a 3 day festival. And what Moses is explaining is they also play mass. It's called mass.
Yeah.
And they have like similar like the Rio Carnival. It's costumes, and there's schools that come out and demonstrate their culture, music, wardrobe, food. It's amazing. If it's usually held August in every year in
I
summertime.
think, yeah, August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's what he's mentioning. If you're not aware of, if you want to check, just Google Carabana Toronto. You'll probably see a lot of references there. But yeah, like I said, it's like you said, that's something that Canada brings to everybody is just to be yourself. You can be
Yeah.
whatever you like, and
Yeah.
nobody has any objections to it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I know you said you had a little bit of an easy life, or easy bringing, or easy settling in period, but were there any struggles that you did have?
The struggles there was like, like now joining university. I just joined the same course I was doing back in Kenya. So, here, like you have to apply for all those OSAP and everything. I was like, okay, I'll go through the process. But then going again to class, I'm being taught the same things, the same words. That was a big struggle for me. Like every morning I'll wake up and like, I have to go through this again. Like I've read the same things, the same things. I was like, no. To me, at first, it was much of a struggle to understand. I have to pay for something which I already know. But my sister was like, that's how it is in Canada. It was starting afresh, start afresh. Like it's not that easy. The other thing struggling was like, in Kenya, I was self-employed. Like I used to make with my business, I used to make my own money. And I also used to be a freelance mentor at a high school. So I was making some little money for myself. So here, when someone is telling me, okay, you need to start writing a resume, apply for a job, I was like, really? I was already like living off myself. Because here, off the bat, you can't just start making your own business straight
Yeah.
away. Yeah, you have to start from somewhere. So now starting to apply for jobs. And the struggle, my first job was at a warehouse. That was a big struggle. Like, I think it's the hardest. You know, when you go to work and I'm like, I thought this is Canada. I was supposed to come enjoy life. Then I go to a warehouse to start lifting 50-pound boxes for 8 hours. That was a real struggle. To me, I was like, there has to be more to me than this. I want to do
Yes.
something else. Like, as much as even if you give me any other job, still, if I call myself an employee, to me was still a struggle. Because I always thought of myself creating opportunities for others. Like, I wanted to be out there trying to build something for myself, something that can also my biggest goal in life is to make all my sisters to retire, not to work. I want to be the only one working. And I know that as an employee earning whatever money, even if you tell me I'm earning 6 figures a year, I cannot make all of them retire. So that struggle was pushing me to think of, I need to do something that will elevate me and elevate my family and also elevate my society. So that's when I was like, you know what? I need to do something. Like, I'm doing
Yeah.
this journalism thing in university, yes, but I know I don't want to work for CPT or I don't want to work for CNN. I just want to make something of my own, something that even if I leave this world, there's something people can feed off, something when someone is watching, they can learn something from it. So that's what even pushed the struggle is what pushed me to start doing what I really actually wanted. I actually appreciate those days of struggle because it really made me reflect, like, what do I really want to do? Because
Yeah.
even if I didn't have that job, I was like, okay, fine. Because you start asking yourself the hard questions. Yes, you want to start something of your own, but starting something needs money. Where are you
Yes.
going to get that money? So that's when I was like, okay, fine. As much as I'm struggling in this job, in this employment, let it count for something. Maybe after paying my bills, all my money goes to what I want to build. So that's when I started, you know what? I'll start doing my own thing. I want to get into podcasting because it's something I really wanted even while I was in back in Kenya. It's something I was planning to do. But in Kenya, I had the financial hardship cause most people think podcasting is easy, but these equipments don't come free.
Yeah.
When you go to Best Buy, they expect something. A good mic is not cheap.
No, no.
Yeah. So most people think you just wake up and start a podcast, but these things, there's a financial responsibility attached to it.
Yeah, it's an investment, right? It's an investment
Yeah.
too.
It's an investment. So slowly by slowly, I started building my own, buying my own stuff, practicing. I remember even myself, waking up in the morning, trying to practice my openings on my windows, my brush my teeth. I was like, I really have to. So I really appreciate the struggles I had, like going to work and then the struggle of going to university, just studying what I had already studied. It made me reflect every single day. And sometimes I couldn't sleep. Like if I'm not doing what I really want to do, it became really a bother. It became like a thorn in my heart. Like you really need to start doing something. You really need to start. Like there was that feeling, start now, like start now. There's always something you can do every day that will push you to achieve what you want. So I made that conscious decision, like whatever I do in a day, it has to be aligned to what I really want at the end. Because if I want to make a podcast, I don't need the right equipment today. I can start preparing for my first episode so that by the time I have that opportunity to put my face in front of that camera, I know what to say. It's not that when you
Yes.
turn the camera on, then I'm like, oh, no. By the time I was turning on the camera, I already knew, like, I'd already planned. I was actually 10 episodes ahead. They were just not recorded. I'd already figured out who my guests will be.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying there. And can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And when the anxiety comes to you, How do you manage to bring yourself back to to reality?
Actually, this one has a backstory going back to Uganda back in high school. So I was actually very shy. So one day, a friend of mine, in Uganda, the system is called O level and A level. O level is like junior high school, then A level is like senior high school. So in my senior high school, my friend of mine was like, you need to run for head boy. Head boy is like the student in charge of all students. I was like, my friend, I can't even speak in front of people. This thing requires people to stand there. He's like, you just go there, just take a leap of faith. He's like, if you fail, you've just failed. Like at least you tried. I was like, okay, let's do this. So I tried. On that stage, I can tell you my whole legs were shaking. Then one of my friends who was there, he came to me and whispered on my ear, it's like, bro, I can see you're shaking. Because the school was also like diverse. There was Kenyans, Tanzanians, there was even South Africans, there was everybody. So there was this kind of competition between countries. So all my friends of Kenyan was like, yo, stop embarrassing us. You're shaking. What you can do, if you're shaking, you need to feed off this anxiety, feed from it. Like take that energy, use it for your next speech. That's stuck up to me up. So every time I get anxious, I look at it as energy that I can feed off. I look at it as the power which I can draw from. Because I can either let it make me anxious and make me look bad, or you can use it and make it to elevate yourself. So you choose. You can either use it positively or negatively. So usually the thing is, I always get anxious when I go to speak anywhere. That's a fact.
No, that's human nature. That's human
Yeah,
nature. You can
it's
be
like
prepared as much as you want to, but
yeah,
when that moment comes,
yeah,
you still, as human beings, we still have an innate, because we care. We care
yeah,
about what we're gonna present, and that's why the anxiety comes up, because you want to do the best that you can. But in
yeah,
that moment, so many people have now taught me to just take a breath
yeah,
and just do your best. Like you said, if you
just,
fail, cool. As
yeah,
long at least you try, because you're
yeah,
doing something that is taking you out of your comfort zone, and that just builds your
yeah,
resilience going forward. And I think
right,
podcasting or just speaking to somebody that you don't know or in front of somebody, and you just start to express your feelings, eventually you will calm down. The
yeah,
nervous system starts to settle and you get more confident, and you can see your presence and your posture, everything starts to align itself. But like you said, you just have to start. It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And one thing I also learned, but this one now I started, this is something I learned last year because I started my fitness journey last year. Because, no, last year, but one. So I lost my mother last year, but one.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So I was thinking of giving up and leaving everything aside. So I just go this thing, you know what? I stopped going to work. I stopped doing whatever I needed to do. And that was the point whereby I was also starting the podcast like now video because I was only doing audio. I was like, now I've already organized my fund. I'm gonna do my audio stuff. Then my mother passes away. So at that point, for a few months, I was like, I really need to give up. But then I was like, you know what? One of my friends who's also a therapist is like, you know what? Just start going to the gym. Just be going to the gym. Just be doing like 10 push-ups a day. That's all I require from you. If you wanna give up, anytime you have that thought of giving up, do 10 push-ups. Anytime you have that bad thing that's bugging your heart or you have those bad thoughts. He told me, all I need you to do is watch your thoughts, observe them. That's all I need you to do. And when you observe it and you feel like this is a bad thought, you have to go down, do 5 push-ups, just do it. At first, starting was really, really, really tough. But as the going was going, like I was starting with 5 push-ups a day, 10 push-ups a day. And the more push-ups I was doing is when I was like now even observing more of my thoughts. I was like, if I'm doing 50 push-ups a day, I was like, damn, I was really having a really bad day. But the good side of it is like, okay, I've discovered what the problem is. Like, yes, these thoughts are there, but you can set them aside.
Yeah.
So I started working out as crazy, going to the gym. I set a goal of 50 push-ups a day. After that, that feeling started going down. Like, you know what? Life happens. Today you're with someone, tomorrow things change. And it also taught me, like, you know what? I started appreciating my days more, even coming to this strategy. I used to enjoy my days, but after now starting the fitness journey, I enjoy my days. I look at my 24 hours as a very precious thing, like too precious. I started observing life from a very different angle. And when that happened, even it made me now realize, you know what? As much as you have this goal of yours, you really need to make it bigger. Like you have come to this, you have seen how your fitness journey has come. You couldn't even do one push. Now you can do 50. Now you can do 300 in a day if you want to. Like, what's stopping you from achieving whatever you want? So from that moment, I was like, you know what? Everywhere I go, whatever I do, I really need to show people like, even if you have anxiety, there's always a solution to something. Like there's nothing in Africa, we say there's nothing under the sun that cannot be solved. So long as you're under this sun, it can be solved. If I could
Yeah.
come out of that state whereby I thought I could give up,
Yeah. Oh,
I've
nice
come
job,
out
man.
of it.
Nice job.
Yeah. I came out of it and I can say like, it even elevated my podcast. The plans which I didn't even have the podcast, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna involve even fitness as part of my podcast, fitness as part of my speeches, like just help someone because it is something like you can invest in money, put in your bank account, but if you're not healthy, that money will go all the way
Exactly.
to your health.
Yeah,
So the money,
for
it
sure.
might end up, you will end up spending it where you could avoid it. So now even my body now feels even better. You not even feel confident speaking to people. So when it came to the fitness journey, now I said, no, what, when someone tells me they're anxious, I usually ask them like, what's that something you make your body active with? Do you do push-ups? Do you run? Do you walk? Because at that point, even when you're anxious, it now brings you to your reality. You just need to be there, be present. It is like you're asking questions to yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically. So those three things have to be aligned. You can be the best. Actually, when my father used to be alive, he said he will never look like if he goes to a church and he sees the pastor is fat, he doesn't want to listen. He's like, I don't want to go to that church. It doesn't. He will never. He's like, you cannot tell me how to take care of myself spiritually, and yet physically you cannot take care of yourself. Those things, it's not matching.
Yeah, it
So I
makes sense
usually
though.
tell, yeah, it's like for you to speak in front of others, he will say your body is your first business card. That's your first business card. How you take care of your body is your first business card.
Yeah,
Everything else, we can now start listening to what you say, what you're doing. But if you cannot take care of yourself, what guarantees are there that you can take care of me? Or
yeah.
what you're saying will help me?
Words relate to action much
Yeah,
more. That's what I'm getting. If you can't put your words into action, then you're just causing a disservice to everybody that you're trying to get your word to. I think that's
yeah,
where we are, and also in society right now. Is there's a lot of words. There's a lot of people trying to share or just even take advantage of people now because of social media and the digital age that we work on, that we
yeah.
live in. We have to be so careful of and discern what's actually real and what or not real. And there's so much on our advocation of going back to living how we did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You know, music wise, event
Music
wise,
wise, yeah.
events without cell phones, just enjoying the moment, because a lot of the times now everybody is just, oh, I want to capture the moment.
Captured,
But you don't,
yeah.
but you're not actually enjoying the moment. You're just capturing the moment, and you come back and you don't even look at it on your phone afterwards. It just sits
Yeah.
there in your storage. And I think that's where going now outside as well, just for a walk, 10 minute walk after you've had a day, just does without any technology. It just brings you back to a sense of calm and peace. And I think your podcast is also, you said you started sharing that as well. You know, the impact of the podcast on the community that you have now. Where did you see the results, or when did you see the results of that coming through?
I would say the first time I started seeing the results coming through, I would say even with myself too. Because when you invite like a guest, you learn something from, there's something you learn from everyone. The thing is, when you have a guest and then they start telling you something and you start applying it in your life and you see it's working, I'm like, if this can work in my life, what about someone who's behind the camera watching?
Yeah.
Like, this is the impact I want to see people. Like, I've had guests who are like, because at that point, even if I'd lost my mother, I was having guests who had gone through loss. They were telling me other ways they had used to get to grief. So I was also using that in my life. Like, as much as you're doing your fitness and everything, also start sharing your story. You never know who has a solution to anything. So when I'm sharing with them, and also when I'm sharing my stories and they're sharing their stories to me, I'm learning something. And also, like, even something that even when I knew it is even working, when one of my family members was watching, it was like, I didn't know this is all that goes on. Like, I could use this, like, to help me go through grief. Because my sister was like, wow, I didn't even, because they knew I had a podcast, but they never really, like, were tuned to it. But when they started watching an episode whereby I was with a guest who had lost someone, they were relating so much with that episode that my sister called me and told me that was nice. I was like, wow. Coming from a family member telling me my podcast is nice, where I knew they were not really in tune to it, that really gave me so much confidence. Because if it can reach straight back home, for sure it has reached someone else.
That's beautiful. I think you hit the nail on the head there because we don't really expect those that are closest to us to actually give that kind of feedback. And when you
Yeah.
do get it, it does make a difference. And just this past week, not from a family member, but just from somebody from my own community, reached out and said I had shared something about, I can't remember what did I share about, just about why I share my story, why I share my vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And I don't do it because I want to be noticed or anything. I do it because when I was going through my dark days, couldn't resonate with somebody that I could feed off and get that knowledge or solution to say, okay, this can help me. So I wanted to be that person now for everybody else. And just sharing
Right.
my story has helped this person understand, okay, to come out of their shell a little bit and to be a bit more visual in representing themselves
Yes.
on the internet or on social media and just giving them a little bit of confidence. And when she said, thank you for sharing that, it's given me a bit of more confidence. I was like, I'll take that. That's why we do what we do, right?
Right. Because people feel more confident is like, okay, fine. If you can talk about it, I can also talk about mine. Because some people usually just fear that the fear of being judged. Like, oh, if I talk about it, how will people feel about me?
Yeah.
I usually tell people, you just say your thing. Like, whatever people feel about you, that's their business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes
So
a
for
long
you, let it
time.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It
It
takes
also takes a lot
practice.
of hard work. Yeah, a lot of hard
Yeah.
work, action, a lot of dark days, a lot of introspection as well as outrospection. But we have to go through it. It's a beautiful journey if you're willing to stick with it. And I think if
Yeah.
you stick with it, you will see the rewards of that. And having the responsibility of a voice on a platform like podcasting, where do you feel we could get our voices heard more, and how do you feel about just being represented, you know, from an African perspective on a global stage? How does it make you feel?
It feels like being on a global scale make me feel like I feel like I have now more responsibility towards, like, let's say Africa. I feel like because when you're in Africa, yes, you can see Africa in the society you are, but when you come out now out of Africa, you see there's so many things you can change. Because when I was growing up in Africa, I felt like there's a ceiling to things I can do. But now coming to Canada, I feel like that ceiling has been removed. Because here, let's say if you like how we can like Africans, we have in the diaspora, we have so much we can do. Because here, there's so much you can do here, but most of it has been done. But if we do whatever we need to do, like in Africa, make our voices being heard, the education, like someone may and you can give someone who has no access to education back home, or just the simple training we already know, it can elevate so many people back in Africa. I feel Africans, the diaspora, we owe it to Africa to uplift it. Uh, there's event I attended. It was a Black Pan Africanist. It was actually in downtown Toronto. He was saying like the remaining prophets in Africa are the ones in the diaspora. Because one, we are the ones who have, I will say, some financial muscle, even just to go there. Because my sister went to Kenya, and the things she could do with that, I don't know in South Africa, but the things she could do with $1,000 there is way too much than what you can do with $1,000. Here with $1,000 is literally nothing. It's not
Yeah,
much.
it's like just groceries.
Yeah, your groceries, you can go through that in a day easily. But if you go with $1,000 like in Kenya, the things you can do, like in Kenya, it takes $50 to start a business and register it with all the government agencies.
50.
$50, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So $50, you've already registered your business, you've already done everything you need to do. And on average cost, if you have $500 Kenya, you can literally start a small, like maybe a streaming service or something, because internet
Wow.
there is cheap compared to here.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
like
pay an arm and a leg here for
yeah.
internet. It's
We pay
crazy.
way so it's crazy. So when you go there, like the opportunities that the people in that, let's say a group like I know, like my sisters who live in the US, a group of Kenyans, they came together and they collected their money and they were able to buy a few houses back in Kenya, which acts as back as an investment for them. So like Africans here in the diaspora, we have so much we can do back home compared to what we can even do here. I'm not discouraging people to invest here, but I'm saying like if you can invest here, you can also invest there with probably half or even a quarter the cost. And there's also returns. And even us just like because for my podcast I have a Musa and Friends tour back to Africa in 2030. I'm gonna look for all my friends who I can. We are going to Africa and we're just going to share our experiences and just move there and see what we can do. Help someone, like even if it's to pay tuition fee for someone. Because in Kenya to pay tuition fee for someone can cost you like $2,000. That person finishes high school.
That's
Like it's
admirable. That's amazing.
yeah.
Can you just repeat that project that you're doing for 2030?
So 2030, it's a Musa and Friends tour in Africa. I am taking my friends back to Africa to see what they can do, what they can help
Amazing.
with. Because I looked at it this way, like here, let's say if I tell you to spend $50, it can probably be nothing to a business. But if you go in Kenya and spend $50 in someone's business, probably that's what he earns in 2, 3 weeks. You have elevated someone's life. So if I take, let's say 1,000 people, I have literally elevated, that's a community I've literally elevated. That's someone I've helped someone pay the children's tuition fees. I've put food in someone's table. I've even connected someone with someone who is in the diaspora, someone you can even learn from, and something we can also go there and learn. Because my brother-in-law is Guyanese. The first time he went to Africa, he was so amazed. Because here, like when he has a plumbing issue, he has to book an appointment. When
Yeah.
he was at home, my sister was like, I'm going to call someone is coming in the next few minutes.
Yeah, same.
He
I
was
know
like,
somebody just
yeah, I know somebody. By the time the phone you hung up, he's on his way.
Yes.
So he was so amazed by how life can be simple that when he came back, even his perspective on life here is very different. He even learned patience. He was someone who's like, when things are not going well, he's like rushing and everything. He was like, in Africa, you guys take life so simple. Like, yes, you guys, as much as there's so much problems in Africa, you guys take life in the simplest of ways.
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
really changed him because going to Africa will make people see, I call it it's a double reflection whereby you go see life how there is and compared to what
What
life
you are
here.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I actually have a story to tell you regarding the perception of Africa.
Yeah.
This was in 2000. We went to the UK for a family wedding. I think I was 16 at the time, and the family member that we went to, they kind of asked us, "Oh, do you guys or somebody asked me there, do you guys live with lions and stuff like that?
I've got that
I'm
too.
like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh no. When you come to South Africa, you'll see.
Yeah.
And when they were flying over Johannesburg, landing at OR Tambo, they were like, it's buildings, it's concrete. What's going on? I thought it was just dust, and they thought it
I
was
thought
just
it was
dust.
just a jungle.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when they landed and also then came outside driving, and then they came to our family home, they were like, are you sure we're in Africa? That doesn't seem. So the perception on the global stage is that Africa is just one poor continent, but we have
Yeah.
so much resources. We are rich in resources and minerals, but it's just not governed and distributed in a fair way where everybody gets to express to enjoy what we
Right.
have. I mean, we can be a powerhouse because I think about even the banking infrastructure, because Africa is quite advanced in terms of their technology practices and even just their banking products. When I came to
Right.
Canada, I was, hey, no man, we had this a couple of years ago. Why isn't that?
Yeah.
So you're right what you're saying. And do you have a link, or do you have a donation, or do you have something that is
It's
live
something
at the
actually,
moment?
we are actually officially launching it this August.
Oh, okay, cool. So
It's
yeah,
something I've
send me
only,
that. Yeah, send me
yeah,
that, and then I'll share it with my
yeah.
community as well. That'd be awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Cause I know like, cause, one of my sister used to work for Kenya Airways. Cause one of the things, when I was, just talking to my friends, they were like, okay, we don't even know where to book tickets to go to Africa. It's something people don't know. I'm like, you usually book your tickets to Jamaica easily on Expedia, right? I'm like, you
Yes.
can still go
Same
to
thing.
Expedia. Yeah.
Same
But also
thing.
people have that fear of getting scammed. So I'm in the process of even creating that because my sister used
Okay.
to work for Kenya Airways, and Kenya Airways has a direct flight from Kenya to New York. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
something we are also like looking at. But the biggest thing is just to create that awareness of people whereby this is Africa. I also have another, aside of Musa and Friends, I have another podcast which is Musa Theory, which I look at African history, African politics. And what we talked about, my previous episodes, I was talking about how Napoleon influenced the colonization of Africa. And part of the things I was talking about was how people look at Africa as, if you look at the mainstream media here, they only show the poor sides of Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody will go and show the good sides of Pretoria. They will always take their
Percent.
cameras
Yeah.
to the ugly sides. I'm like, your camera is so selective. Why? Like, we are
Or
not
you go to
refusing.
Cape Town, or you get to Cape Town and you just show the
Yeah,
sunset and the oceans and the beaches. But if you
yeah,
go even to if you go to Johannesburg and you show them the wealthier side, the houses, the size of the houses, and
yeah.
they'll be amazed. They'll be like, no, this is not Africa. This is not South Africa.
No, they
This can't
wouldn't
be
even
right.
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my sister,
But
actually,
that's
one of my sister went to Cape Town. He said Cape Town was like a Europe in Africa.
yeah. But that's why also it's important for us to share our experiences and where we come from,
Yeah,
and share that knowledge and educate as well. Because I think we do have a little bit of an advantage because we understand the world. Also, growing up, we had world news. We saw what was happening worldwide. We weren't just stuck within our own silos and propaganda against whatever. When we saw news, we were exposed to the world. Even our history books, what we were taught in school, we were taught about American history, European history, etc., etc., etc. And I think we come with that little bit of advantage of how the world actually works. It's just that we have to now educate and do that in a objective way to say, hey, Africa has a lot to offer. Yes, there's certain parts that are still dangerous. You can't go
yeah,
there, obviously,
yeah,
but there are other parts where you can enjoy it, and the people are the most friendliest people on the planet. And you won't, hospitality wise, food, it's everything. You won't have a bad experience unless you go and you're looking for it or something happens to you. I'm not saying advocating for anything, but I'm just saying if you do have an inkling to experience a continent, I would suggest that you do that.
yeah. I was actually telling a friend the other day, he lives in Detroit. I told him, you guys are so selective. Even America, there are places whereby you and I, we can't just walk freely.
Oh. Of course.
Because if you go to Detroit, if you go to the McDonald's, the glass is bulletproof. I was like, in Africa, I don't think I've ever seen a place where someone sells food, the glass is bulletproof. That means here it's way worse than even back there.
But in my way, I grew up in my neighborhood, just across the main road. We couldn't go into that area. It was dangerous. So it's like two couple of kilometers away. You couldn't go there.
Yeah.
That's so you have to be selective of where you go, but your surroundings, you just have to be a little bit aware of where you are, and you'll be fine. And also personal safety. Just make sure that you understand your surroundings. You know
Your
where
surroundings.
you are.
Yeah.
That's it, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
We can have a discussion about this for a long time, but also I think we're running out of time. Just one thing before we go. When we had that discussion at the podcamp, you mentioned Mandela a lot. I just want to understand what kind of influence did Mandela have on your personal life?
On my personal life, because I used to watch Mandela, like what really made me to think is like, like for all other Africans, when we're expecting Mandela to come out of prison, we're expecting him to come and tell all the black people it's now time to fight, kick all these white people out. We were expecting revenge. But when he came out of prison, he came out whereby he wants to heal a whole nation. He wants to see people live in peace. That actually, to me, it created like, it was an influence whereby to show compassion. Like, that was the human side, like show humanity. Yes, some injustices have been done, but two wrongs never make a right at any given time. So him just coming out and also saying like, for African, I only want to run for 5 years of my president. That's one thing very rare in Africa. For a president to say 5 years is enough for me, let me leave. It's like, this is my time. I've done my bit. It is now time for someone else to come to give their expertise. He gave chance for other people to come up, whereby it's something which is very rare to see in Africa. So Nelson Mandela, to me, first of all, just coming out and saying, like, we just need to heal the nation. Like, let us figure out how to just live as brothers and sisters, as neighbors. That one to me was like out of this world, because I was actually what even exposed me to Mandela. I don't know if you've watched this movie, Sarafina.
Yes.
That was the first movie I ever watched as a child. I was like, wow. I was like, I needed to research about, because there were everyone was talking in that movie. How do we free Nelson Mandela? How can, even as a society, we can come and fight for our own rights? Like people fought for him to just come out of prison. Like the society fought. It's something which I also admire. Like for our society alone, there's so many injustices whereby people just keep quiet. I look at it as my way of a wake up call. What can I do just to make my society better? And if there are things that are being done bad, how can I speak about it in a way that takes care of everyone? Because where I live, that's where my safety is. If I take care of my neighbor, that means my neighbor will take care of me. It takes two people to make a place peaceful. Because for me, my biggest thing is like, challenges will always be there, but the first thing that has always to be there is peace between neighbors. Because if there's peace between neighbors, that means we are unified. And if anything is coming to attack us, two heads are always better than one. Yeah.
Ubuntu. That's where.
Yeah, Ubuntu. Yeah.
That's where it originated.
Yeah.
It's coming as one. That's all it is. I think that's what we all hope for in the coming days of our lives, just to understand that we all here for a purpose and we all want to live happily and peacefully, and nobody wants to have any arguments or disagreements. I think we all just, like Mandela said, we all here to help one another. I think like you said, he epitomed that two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
And that's what it meant. He accepted his oppressors. He gave them a hug and he said, thank you.
You're right. That was a moment like nobody will ever forget.
No, I don't think. That'll be etched in everybody's memories, I think, for generations to come. Even if you weren't born in this era, you learn about it somehow. But no, Moses, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much
Really
for
appreciate
having me.
it. You're welcome. Remember, guys, to subscribe, share this podcast, and keep supporting the podcast. I can bring you a lot more inspirational people like Moses, just 2 Africans, 2 journeys, 1 mission, inspiring people and to believe in their own stories, and that's all that matters. So thank you, guys. Until the next one, stay Zen. Thank you.
Thank you.